You're watching Goodday Siouxland with Nick Wilson and meteorologist Ethan Foreman. From KCAU 9 News, this is Goodday Siouxland.
Well, good morning. It's 6:45 on this Monday morning. I'm Nick Wilson.
And I'm Ethan Foreman.
And what can we expect out there?
Yeah, I got some dense fog still occurring across the area. That's the 7th morning in a row we've seen that, and also seeing some rain and freezing drizzle starting to move in. Port Neal Welding Company camera in downtown Sioux City shows fairly quiet right now, but could run into a couple icy spots as temperatures are still below freezing in a few areas like Lamar's, Cherokee, Spencer, and Sioux City. However, as you head to the west, temperatures are climbing into the upper 30s to low 40s as we see some rain starting to arrive in those areas, and a little bit of freezing drizzle still occurring in areas just east of Ida Grove and Cherokee, like the Sac City and Storm Lake areas. That's where we could see a little bit of freezing drizzle for the next hour or so. Winter weather advisories have been issued for Cedar, Wayne, and Madison counties westward through 6 a.m. Tuesday through 9 p.m. for Yankton County for this evening. Dense fog advisories continue through late morning for Monona, Harrison, as well as Sac counties eastward, where we could still see visibilities down to a quarter of a mile and some icy spots due to freezing fog. That rain moves in as highs climb to near 40 for today. However, some more snow on the way this weekend. Those details coming up.
Well, some sad news this morning as the 39th President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, passed away yesterday at the age of 100. ABC's Nicole DeAntonio shares more about Carter's lifetime of service.
This morning, there are many tributes honoring the life and legacy of former President Jimmy Carter. At 100 years old, he became the longest living president in U.S. history.
We may never see his like again. We'd all do well to try to be a little more like Jimmy Carter.
In his address to the nation Sunday, President Biden remembering his friend of nearly 50 years.
There's millions of people all around the world, all over the world, feel they lost a friend as well, even though they never met him. And that's because Jimmy Carter lived a life measured not by words, but by his deeds.
President-elect Donald Trump acknowledged their political differences before writing, "The challenges Jimmy faced as president came at a pivotal time for our country, and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude." And former President Barack Obama saying Carter taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. And abroad, condolences are also pouring in from a growing list of world leaders. Carter's one term in office was defined by foreign policy. He brokered a historic peace deal between Israel and Egypt, but the 1979 Iranian Revolution caused both an energy crisis in the U.S. and the kidnapping of 52 American hostages, which played a role in his political undoing. After leaving the White House, Carter could be found building homes with Habitat for Humanity even into his 90s. In recognition of his humanitarian efforts, Carter was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. But Carter considered his marriage to Rosalind to be his greatest accomplishment.
Rosalind say, okay, finally, and staying with me all this long.
The couple celebrated their 77th wedding anniversary last year before Rosalind passed away at the age of 96. President Biden has ordered a state funeral here in Washington, D.C. in the coming weeks. Carter's body will then be taken back to Georgia, where he'll be laid to rest alongside Rosalind. Nicole DeAntonio, ABC News, Washington.
And closer to home, the governors of all three of the Siouxland states reacted to the news of former President Carter's death yesterday. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds released a statement reading in part, quote, "President Carter never stopped living his faith through service. His belief in putting God's love into action has inspired generations of Americans," end quote. Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen released a statement saying in part that Carter's, quote, "service to others continued long after the presidency," adding, quote, "his unwavering faith in Almighty God and his dedication to his family were a model for us all," end quote. And South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem posted on X saying, quote, "President Carter's life was one of steadfast service, marked by humility and grace. In this moment, may his family find peace and comfort," end quote. Elsewhere, the Associated Press reports that the number of abortions has actually continued to rise slightly in the U.S. in the 2.5 years since Roe v. Wade was overturned. Their data seems to indicate that rather than decreasing the number of abortions, states with strict abortion bans have simply led patients to seek care in other states. For example, in New Mexico in 2023, the number of Texans accessing abortion care was double the number of New Mexico residents. The number of abortions performed via telehealth has also continued to rise. Meanwhile, for many of us, the new year is a time to set new goals, but sometimes that's easier said than done. ABC's Christian Cordero has some advice from the experts on how to make reasonable resolutions and stick to them.
As we turn the page on 2024, now is the time to set those New Year's resolutions for 2025.
So everyone's kind of thinking about what they really want the future to look like for themselves, and that's kind of a lofty process.
Neurologist Dr. Leah Kroll says people often set too many goals or goals that are too vague.
Set yourself up for success by focusing on just one or two goals that are really important to you for this year and getting very specific about it.
For example, I want to get in shape this year may sound great, but it's not really actionable.
Whereas if you say, I want to train for a 5K, you know exactly what you have to do.
Next, Dr. Kroll says to craft a plan for yourself.
Most goals are going to take multiple steps to achieve. So really mapping out for yourself, what is each step that I need to take over the course of the year to get where I want to get in the end.
So if your resolution is to eat more vegetables,
well, you've got to go to the grocery store. You've got to pick up your broccoli. You've got to look up a recipe. You've got to cook the broccoli.
And it's more than just a blueprint of what you have to do.
There's also something very gratifying on a chemical level in the brain about sort of checking things off your list and feeling like you're already making progress towards your goal.
Sharing your goal with the people in your life can help keep you accountable. And getting together with friends to make vision boards can help give you direction.
The process of going through and making a vision board is so helpful when it comes to really focusing on what your goals are. What do I want that end goal to really look like for me? What do I want my life to look like 1 year from now?
Dr. Kroll says there will be bumps in the road, and remember, we're human.
So there's absolutely no such thing as somebody who sets out to achieve every goal they've ever had and has carried out every step without any flaws. That just doesn't happen. It's not reality.
Don't beat yourself up about it or get upset. Continue moving forward to achieve your goal. Christian Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Here in Siouxland, if you have a number 9 birthday coming up, KCAU-9 would love to help you celebrate. We're celebrating the 9s each Thursday right here on Goodday Siouxland. If you or a loved one is turning 9, 99, or any 9 in between, we want to hear about it. Every Thursday morning, we share our list of birthday shout-outs. And this week, one lucky person will take home a prize from the Launchpad Children's Museum. So if you'd like to be featured this week, go to SiouxlandProud.com and click on Celebrating the 9s under the Contest tab to enter by tomorrow at noon. Now it's time we meet today's Stray of the Day. Every day we share a pet picked up by Sioux City Animal Adoption and Rescue who's just waiting to go home.
That's right, and this is Teddy, a 9 to 12-month-old male pug French bulldog mix that weighs about 10 pounds. He was found on the 3300 block of Jennings Street. The rescue says he's a friendly and energetic pup that gets along well with people and other animals. Teddy is available for adoption now.
And if you've lost your pet, you're looking to adopt, or you'd like to sponsor a pet for adoption, you can visit the rescue's website. Go to SiouxCityAnimalRescue.com. Teddy sure looks like a pretty nice pet.
Yeah, sure looks playful in that photo.
Might not be a fan of the weather conditions we're expecting. Hard to play in the conditions that we could see.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah, unfortunately, we got some rain and snow on the way. Even a little bit of freezing drizzle still trying to occur right now in Sac and Buena Vista counties up toward Cherokee and Clay County, Iowa. So make sure to give yourself some extra time on that morning commute. Could also see a little bit of freezing fog as we zoom out on satellite and radar. You could see that we have some more rain off to the west with a low pressure system behind it. Some snow as you head toward Rapid City. That's headed our way later on today as we see that low pressure system moving to our south, giving us that chance of rain through much of the afternoon and evening hours. You could see not really much of a break for much of the afternoon and evening, and some of the heaviest precip going to be moving through right during that evening commute. So give yourself extra time on that way home. Plan on some extra travel time. You could see that there is some snow off to the west. That will gradually transition to snow for just about everyone in the overnight hours, with the heaviest accumulations in Nebraska. That tapers off into Tuesday as we see a little bit of clearing, but most of the clearing going to take place as we head into New Year's Day. New Year's Day looking like one of our better days in the 9-on-9 forecast. Some of those heaviest rainfall totals will be south and west, where we see up to half an inch, but most of us generally going to be in that 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch range. Those heaviest snowfall totals also focused west, where this might be just a little bit on the low side, but 1 to 3 inches can be expected in those western areas where we have winter weather advisories for Cedar, Wayne, and Madison counties westward. Also includes Yankton County, where they expire at 9 p.m. That fog's starting to improve, but still seeing some reduced visibilities off to the east, where dense fog advisories continue through noon for those eastern areas. And I'll have your 9-on-9 forecast at the end of the show.
Now let's take a look at this morning's top stories, what you need to know before you go. With the new year coming up in just 2 days, a raise is on the way for minimum wage workers in 2 of the Siouxland states. On Wednesday, the minimum wage in South Dakota will rise to $11.50 per hour for non-tipped employees. That's an increase from $11.20. In Nebraska, that wage rate will rise to $13.50, up from $12. Meanwhile, the minimum wage in Iowa remains at the federal rate of $7.25 an hour, where it's been since 2008. In other money news, gas prices stayed pretty steady over the weekend. The national average price for a gallon of regular gas is up just slightly to $3.02 this morning. Drivers in South Dakota can expect to pay an average of $2.76 at the pump. Compare that to $2.75 in Nebraska. And Hawkeye State drivers right behind at $2.73 a gallon. Those prices are not a whole lot different from what we saw this time last year. In later news, the season of Hanukkah continues this week, and Siouxlanders have a chance to celebrate the holiday coming up this evening. Hanukkah is known as the Festival of Lights. In the Jewish faith, it's an 8-day celebration of the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. This evening, a Hanukkah celebration will take place at the Sioux City Convention Center, and the president of Congregation Beth Shalom says the community is welcome to attend, regardless of religious background.
Local Jews are welcome, local Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, everybody's welcome, I'm sure. But maybe they'll get a little, hands-on experience of learning about Jewish food and about our religion and our culture.
Tonight's celebration will feature the lighting of the menorah, entertainment for all ages, hot drinks, and a selection of traditional Hanukkah foods. The event will kick off at 5:30 p.m. Finally, some Siouxland kids had a chance to exercise their brains over the weekend at the downtown branch of the Sioux City Public Library. On Saturday, the library held STEM events for a couple of different age groups focused on coding and robots. They aim to help introduce kids to the science and tech fields and help keep growing brains active. The library plans to continue holding these events on the 4th Saturday of each month through April. And if you want to sign your kid up for next month's event, just find this story on our website, SiouxlandProud.com. One last look at that forecast. What do we have in store for us?
Yeah, I got some rain today as we see a high temperature of around 40 degrees and could see between 1/4 and 3/4 of an inch of rainfall, and then 1 to 3 inches of snow possible west of I-29 tonight as we drop down to 24. Any rain we do see will likely freeze overnight, so make sure to give yourself extra time on that Tuesday morning commute. We see one warmer day on Wednesday, but then temperatures really take a tumble. Another chance of a winter storm coming Saturday into Sunday, with a high of only 7 degrees next Tuesday, January 7th.
Yeah, next week not looking great out there.
No, looking very cold.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at 11:30.